Okay, welcome to the second Guitar Pro 5 tutorial that is done by HotKid52. That's me. The audio quality might suck on this one because Dragon Pet 12 has my microphone. I better get it back really soon. I'm gonna be mad. Okay, anyway, moving on to this tutorial. This tutorial we're going to cover all these buttons that you see here. And these buttons include all these buttons. Now, we're going to start off down here though in the track area. The track is basically where you see all the different instruments that you were doing in your song. And it starts out with default just one track, and it's just got an acoustic steel guitar. You can add I guess we'll just jump right into the buttons. Add a new track by clicking this button up here. Add a track. You can choose make it an instrument track, a percussion track, and then to place it first, last, or before or after a certain track. Put it last. Okay. Now you can choose what kind of track this is going to be, but just a couple properties. We're going to call this the bass track. Color it yellow. Make it a 4-string because basses have 4 strings. This is 5-string bass, but it's going to be 4-string. And it'll set it as an electric bass. I set it for 4 strings. And now you can write songs just like I explained in the first video in the exact same manner. You switch between the two by just clicking on them. And now the great thing about this is when you hit play, it'll play both parts at the same time. Also, when you get a lot of tracks going, you can solo, make just that one track play, or mute, have all the other tracks play except this one. Any track you can think of. And by layering different tracks, that's how songs are made. That's actually how they record. Each instrument plays at one time, and they layer them on top of each other. Okay, getting into some of these other weird buttons up here. These are markers. They're like places in a song that are famous. In fact, with all the buttons that I'm going to explain, I might as well just open a song. I'm going to open Money by Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Now, a marker is a button that just talks about a very particular part in a song. A very certain, well-known part. This is a good reference point. You can go back to here, you can go back to the last marker, go to the next marker, or have a list of markers. Also, they have just a list like this, and you can add markers with this button. With this, you can go to any marker in the song. We're going to go just to jump right to the Saxophone Solo in Money. And see, down here it has quite a few tracks, that's 7. The vocals, the guitar, bass, piano, saxophone, percussion, and the effects tab, which you should know what that is if you've heard the song before. And if you haven't, you better darn well listen to it. Also, we can see a couple things that we didn't see before. We can see the volume, which can really affect a song because some instruments are better heard than others. And also you can play with the solo or mute buttons really well on this one. Over here is where you can see how the tracks sort of fit together. Up here, this is the vocals, and you can see all the ones that are colored are the spots where the person is singing. And that goes for all of these tracks. A grayish blue button like that is one where that particular instrument is not doing anything. The little black box, that's the current measure that you're in right now. You can also see the markers up here and the measure numbers. You can get rid of this whole bar if it's in the way by clicking this. This is another good opportunity to look at some of the other buttons that are in here. I'll go to the guitar part. And now, here, in this, we can examine the chord thing, which someone actually requested in my last video to look at. This is the chord button.
Now, since I have it placed on a chord, it'll bring it up, that chord that it's on right now, which is a B5 chord, or a power chord. But I can change this around to any number of chords. I can make it an E, or if I want. Now here's the cool part. If I click OK, it'll immediately change that to say that. But I'm going to put it back to B5 since it actually is a B5. Also, it places a box. I have a box
at the top of the screen, it tells me what kind of chord that is. Also, if I'm already in a song and I see a chord that I do not know, I can click on that, click the chord box, and it will tell me what kind of chord it is. In this case, a B. Now, that's just some of the buttons down here. We can also add text for like whatever reason. There's a mix table where you can, in the middle of a song, you can change the instrument, volume, pan, that's the stereo setup, chorus, reverb, phaser, tremolo, some effects, and the tempo of the song. Now, also, you can just set those up to be in effect immediately, how soon after you put the marker, if it affects all of the tracks, and just what you're going to affect it to. Now this just will keep everything on the track the same, but it'll change it from that until you tell it to stop doing whatever you had it doing. You can also have it tell you what fingers to use for left hand or right hand. You can tell it to use an upstroke or a downstroke, an up pick or a down pick, depending if you're doing chords or single notes. And here's the actual note commands, things that you can do to individual notes. You can do wah-wah, have the note fade in. For bass, you can pop it, slap it, or tap it. Rice Krispies, anyone? You can staccato a note, palm mute it, tremolo pick it, trill a note, wide vibrato or small vibrato. There's some slide commands, a whammy bar command, bending, hammer-ons, natural and artificial harmonics. If you're playing guitar or bass, you can let a note ring, accent, heavy accent, and ghost, grace, and dead notes. Those are very well known and very well used, especially the bends, and all just the slides and the hammer-ons, all that very, very important things. I'm going to look at the bend screen here because it looks kind of weird. What you do is these 4 bars represent the duration of whatever note you happen to be playing. You can choose the bend type to bend it, then release it, bend, release, and bend, pre-bend, or pre-bend and release. You can see how much you're going to bend it on this little screen, or choose some pre-made ones. See if you can affect where it's going to bend by clicking on certain areas, and then you can click to hear what it'll sound like. Listen to this, this is going to sound really weird. Or you can just click full, and it'll automatically set it to that. And you'll hear what it sounds like when you just get out of that screen. So those are some of the note commands. Also, for switching between tracks, for quick access, you can use these numbers up here. We're going to start looking up here. Now, we have these to show you what something might look like on an actual keyboard if you're using a keyboard, or a guitar if you're using a guitar. See, if you click on this, it'll show you where the actual notes are on the guitar to help you visualize it. You can have it show you scales, and it'll. And those are all the notes that are in the key of C. Pardon me one sec. You can just do all sorts of crazy stuff. See, these are all the notes that are in the C scale for if you're playing in the key of C. That's quite helpful. You can change just what the